My girlfriend said she was leaving me for someone better, while I was paying for her MBA. Yeah, that's how it started. I'm Jake, 30 years old. I manage commercial construction projects in Denver, Colorado. Nothing flashy, just structure, deadlines, and steel. That's my world. Until Ashley walked in and shattered it with a smile. I used to think if you worked hard, loved right, and stayed loyal, the universe would return the favor. Turns out that's not how the universe works, especially when love turns into leverage. Let me take you back. Before the betrayal. Before the lies. Back to when I still believed in something called us. 3 years ago, I bought my first house, a modest 3-bedroom in a decent Denver neighborhood. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I'd started at 18 as a laborer, pushing wheelbarrows and hauling rebar. Working through community college at night, I climbed one rung at a time until I made it to the office. By 27, I had keys to a house. By 28, I had Ashley. I met her at a buddy's 4th of July barbecue. She walked in like she owned the air. Blonde hair that caught sunlight like gold foil, green eyes that scanned the room like a camera lens. I was mid-bite into a burger when she laughed, and I nearly choked. She was 24 at the time. Said she worked retail, some boutique over in Cherry Creek. Didn't take long to figure out that retail meant $25K a year, and praying her Civic made it to payday. But she had presence. That kind of presence that makes you forget things like balance and boundaries. She complained a lot about her apartment. 4 girls sharing one bathroom, thin walls, neighbors who never slept. So, naturally, I started giving her rides. Then she stayed over just to get rest. One night became 2, then a week. Before I knew it, there were tampons in my cabinet and Sephora bags on my sink. Ashley had moved in without ever officially asking. And honestly, I didn't mind. At least, not at first. There was something magnetic about her. The way she called me baby after a long day. The way she walked around my kitchen in tiny shorts and one of my old college t-shirts, humming along to some Spotify playlist. She'd make dinner sometimes, always with ingredients I bought. She gave me attention, sex, praise. I felt seen, needed. Even if my bank account didn't always agree. I told myself it was love, that I was investing in our future. But here's the thing about investments. If you never check the return, you're not growing wealth, you're bleeding dry. The first red flag came wrapped in ambition. I've been thinking, she said one night, curled up next to me on the couch, legs tucked under a blanket I didn't remember owning. I can't do retail forever. I want more, like what I asked. I want to get my MBA. I paused. That's a big move. Tuition's not cheap. She sighed, staring at her freshly painted nails. I know. But I looked at DePaul University. Their program is amazing, $42K total. I applied for aid. But they said my parents make too much even though they won't help. Another sigh. I guess I'll just be stuck selling overpriced jeans until I'm 30. That last part. It came with a glance. Not desperate. Strategic, and I, like the emotionally stunted idiot I was, took the bait. I could help, I said, almost without thinking. Her eyes widened. Wait, really, you'd do that? That night we had sex like it was prom night. And I told myself this was love. Real love. The kind where you sacrifice for the future you want to build together. I paid the first semester up front. Then came the laptop, $1,800 for a MacBook Pro. Then a shopping spree for professional clothes because you can't wear H&M to business school. Jake, Then the Civic broke down again. So, we leased a Honda CR-V. She said it was more appropriate for a future marketing executive. I co-signed. I always co-signed. She cut back her hours at work to focus on class. Suddenly, I was covering groceries, gas, rent, car insurance, beauty routines, dog sitting for her friend. And yes, even lash extensions. My expenses nearly doubled. I stopped contributing to my emergency fund. But she always knew how to keep me hooked. A kiss here, a late-night back rub, a sweet thank you. Baby whispered into my neck. I thought I was building something. I thought we were building something. But then came Liam. It started with name drops. Liam said we should use a different framework for our group project. Then Liam used to work with Nike's branding team. Then Liam's company consults for Fortune 500 clients. At first, I thought, whatever. He's just a classmate. But then Ashley started dressing differently for class. Blazers that looked like they belonged in a showroom. Heels on days she didn't have presentations. Lipstick darker than usual. She'd leave early, come home late. Started going to networking events with vague RSVPs. Always student only, always invite only. Never for boyfriends. One night, I asked if I could come. She blinked. It's just for students, babe. You'd be bored anyway. I nodded, but something in my chest turned over. A knot I couldn't explain. A truth I didn't want to name. I told myself she was ambitious. That this was what success looked like. That I was being insecure. But deep down, I knew. I just didn't have proof. Yet. Then came March 15th. It was a Thursday. I remember because the permit on a commercial build downtown had just gotten approved after 2 months of hell. I was working from home, pacing between my laptop and the kitchen, riding the high of a rare win. Ashley said she had class until 2. I expected her home by 3. At 2:30, the front door creaked open. I turned, expecting a quick kiss and a rundown of her day. Instead, she stood in the entryway, still in her heels, and wrapped dress hands folded. Face set. "Jake," she said, "we need to talk." Something in her voice told me this wasn't about groceries. That's the sentence that flipped my world inside out. 4 words that would burn every future I ever imagined. And what she said next, it was worse than anything I'd prepared for. I'm in love with Liam. We've been together for 4 months. I'm moving in with him this weekend. That's what she said. No emotion, no shame. Just a clean cut through 2.5 years of my life. 4 months. That meant it started around Thanksgiving. While I was hauling a 10-foot Christmas tree through the front door, laughing like a fool, dreaming of starting traditions, she was sleeping with someone else. While I cooked her a holiday dinner from scratch, she was texting Liam under the table. While I thought we were building a life, she was planning her exit. I stood there for a moment, frozen in my own house. Not because I didn't believe it, but because I did. Every dot connected. The extra long study groups. The sexy outfits for class presentations that suddenly required highlighter heels. The random overnight networking mixers. The I'm too tired for sex weeks. It was never school. It was Liam. I looked past her, toward the door. 2 suitcases stood upright at my gift, of course. A matching Louis Vuitton set I'd bought her for Christmas, $300 to $400 on my Amex, because she said she'd never had anything designer before. I already packed most of my stuff, she added casually, like we were roommates parting ways, not lovers coming undone. And then she dropped this. Liam's successful. Jake. Really successful. He's taking me to Aspen this weekend to meet some of his business partners. He says I have real potential. She said it like I was supposed to cheer for her. Like this was an upgrade and I should be proud to have helped her prepare for the next level. I asked one question. When did it start, the truth? Ashley. She hesitated, eyes flicking away for the first time. Right after Thanksgiving. Of course. But Jake, she added quickly. I didn't plan for this to happen. Liam and I we connect. He understands my ambition. He's going places and he wants me to come with him. She said that last part with this soft smile, like I should understand, like I should be happy she found someone who really gets her. My chest felt like it was shrinking in on itself. But I didn't raise my voice. I didn't beg. I didn't ask her to stay. I understand. I said, I hope you two are very happy together. Her smile twitched, confused. That's it, she asked. You're not even going to fight for us. I met her eyes. What's there to fight for? You've already left. She stood awkwardly in the hallway for a second too long. Then, as if realizing she wouldn't get her dramatic exit, she cleared her throat. Liam will be here around 6 to help me move the rest of my things. I nodded. That's fine. I won't be here. But I was lying. I'd be here. And I wouldn't be wasting those few hours wallowing. I'd be planning. As soon as she left for lunch, probably with Liam, I sat down at my kitchen table and opened a spreadsheet. Not for work. For her. I itemized every single thing I paid for in the past 18 months. Tuition $28,000 paid so far. Laptop under $800. Car lease $420 month. Car insurance $180 month. Health insurance $240 month. Cell phone $85 month. Credit card average $1 $200 month. Beauty routine, dining out, entertainment $1,000 month. Groceries, utilities, household expenses $800 month. It came out to roughly $4,000 a month. And suddenly, I saw it clearly. I wasn't a boyfriend. I was a lifestyle subscription. And her trial just expired. I started making calls. First, DePaul University's financial office. Hi, I'm Jake Morrison. I'm listed as a third-party guarantor on Ashley Rodriguez's tuition plan. I'd like to withdraw from future payments, effective immediately. The woman on the line paused. You understand this may affect her ability to enroll in upcoming terms. I do. I'll honor the current semester since it ends soon. But I'm out after that. She said it would take 48 hours to process. I asked for written confirmation. Second call, American Express. Then Chase. Ashley was an authorized user on both cards. 10 minutes later, she wasn't. Third auto insurance. I had her removed from my policy. If she was living with Liam now, she could get her own coverage. Fourth, Verizon. Her line disconnected. If she wanted to text Liam good morning, she could do it on her own plan. Fifth, changed every single password. Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Spotify, even the Wi-Fi. If they wanted entertainment, they could pay for it. Then came the part I didn't know would hit me so hard. I walked into the guest room closet where she'd kept most of her clothes. Designer jeans, Lululemon sets, those $600 snow boots she needed last winter. I grabbed 3 big garbage bags and started filling them. Every dress, every jacket, every handbag. I drove to Goodwill, donated everything, got the receipt for the tax write-off. As I handed over the final bag, I felt this weird mix of grief and clarity, like I just exhaled for the first time in a year. On the drive home, I called a locksmith, $240 later. Every lock in the house was changed. At 5:30 me, I turned off the lights and waited upstairs, watching from my bedroom window. At 5:45, a beat-up BMW 328i rolled into the driveway. Not the sleek M3 she'd bragged about. This one had a dented bumper and mismatched rims. Liam stepped out first. Tall, wiry, man bun. Suit that didn't quite fit. The kind of guy who talks about energy and circling back. Ashley followed behind, looking radiant for someone who'd just lit her life on fire. They loaded the suitcases into his trunk. She walked to the door, tried her key, and paused. She tried again. Nothing. She knocked. I took my time. When I opened the door, Liam extended his hand. "Hey, man. Ashley's told me a lot about you." I looked him up and down. "I bet she has." Ashley pushed forward. "Jake, my key doesn't work. I changed the locks." Why would you do that? You don't live here anymore." Her jaw tightened. "I just need to grab a few more things from upstairs." "What things?" "My clothes, makeup, some jewelry." "Clothes are gone. Makeup's in that box by the door. Jewelry depends. My bracelet, the necklace you got me for my birthday. Already returned them. You can't return jewelry after 2 months. Actually, you can, especially when you have receipts. Turns out, some places are very understanding when you tell them your girlfriend cheated." Liam shifted uncomfortably. "Maybe we should just go." Ashley's face flushed red. "This is ridiculous. You can't just cut me off." I smiled. "I didn't. You cut yourself off the moment you chose someone else." She stormed off in disbelief. But that was only the beginning. Because what she didn't know, I was just getting started. Ashley stormed off the porch that evening like a woman scorned, heels clicking hard against the concrete, cheeks flushed, dragging Liam in tow. But as soon as the door shut behind them, the house felt still. Not empty. Just mine again. I stood there in the foyer, hand still on the doorknob. For a moment, I felt nothing. No rage, no sorrow. Just a numb, quiet sort of peace, like I'd finally stopped bleeding. But that peace didn't last long. The next morning, my phone rang at 7:03 a.m. Ashley. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. And again? Then I got the text. "Jake, my credit card isn't working. I just tried to buy coffee and it got declined." I didn't reply. 10 minutes later, "My phone service is out. Are you serious right now?" I sipped my coffee and looked out the window. Denver was waking up. So was reality. Another text. "This is cruel. I need those cards. I have expenses." So do I. I thought, like peace of mind. By noon, her phone was disconnected. She started calling from Liam's number, then from unknown numbers. Then she called my office. Yeah, she actually called my job. My receptionist flagged me. "Jake, there's a woman on the line. She sounds frantic." I picked up. "Jake," she snapped, "you can't just do this. I need that card for things. I have bills." For what I asked calmly. She hesitated. "You know I don't make enough. I have lashes, nails, my hair, gas, groceries." I could hear her spiraling. Her voice cracked. "I can't just stop taking care of myself." "Jake," I smiled bitterly. "You're not my girlfriend anymore. Ashley, you're Liam's. Let him pay for your lashes." The calls didn't stop. Friday afternoon, I heard a knock. I opened the door to find her on my doorstep. She looked different, not polished, not put together, just real. Eyes puffy. Hair pulled into a messy ponytail, jacket zipped up tight. Behind her, Liam sat in his beater BMW. Engine running. Didn't even look up. "Jake," she said, almost whispering. "We need to talk." I didn't answer, just stepped aside slightly. "I got an email from DePaul. She said, they said you pulled out of the summer payment." "That's right." "You can't do that," she snapped. "I'm halfway through the program." "Actually, I can," I replied, and I did. "You're destroying my future because of a breakup." "No. You destroyed your future when you chose to cheat on me. I'm just not funding it anymore." She blinked fast, like she couldn't believe what I'd just said. "Liam and I will figure out the tuition," she muttered, but even she didn't sound convinced. "But I need the cards back. I have bills." "What bills?" I asked. "You don't pay rent. You don't pay utilities. Your phone was on my plan. I have personal stuff," she snapped. "Things I need to maintain." "Then you'd better maintain them yourself." That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because of guilt, but because of the silence. My house had been loud for months, music, perfume, movement, chatter. Now, it was just quiet, clean. Still smelled faintly of her lavender lotion, though that would take time. I wandered into the office and stared at my vision board. A cork board I'd made in January pictures, quotes, goals. There we were, Ashley and I on New Year's Eve. Her in a gold dress, me in a blazer I hated but wore for her. In bold Sharpie, I had written, "Power couple in progress." Below that, a sticky note that said MBA Savings Investment. Next to it, build together, rise together. I stood there in the dark and peeled every photo, every quote, every dream off that board, one by one, until it was just bare cork again. Then I grabbed a new sticky note and wrote something else. "Don't save people who'll watch you drown." Pinned it dead center. Saturday morning, the calls shifted tone. Her mom called first. "Jake, sweetheart," she began. "I know you're upset, but Ashley's in a tough spot." "She made her spot," I replied. "She's still our baby girl. She's scared, confused. She's 24, not 14, I said. And if she's confused, maybe she shouldn't have cheated for 4 months." "You don't have to be mean," her mom snapped. "I'm not being mean. I'm being done." Click. That night, her sister called. "Jake, you're better than this." "Than what?" "Than leaving someone you loved in a crisis." Liam lied to her. He manipulated her. 4 months is a long time to be manipulated. She's been crying in her car. She's sleeping in a parking lot behind a 7-Eleven. I said nothing. She was vulnerable. She didn't know what she was doing. "Maria," I said, "I've seen Ashley negotiate $600 snow boots on sale like a Wall Street trader. Don't tell me she didn't know what she was doing." "You're being cruel." "I'm being free." Then came the best one. Monday morning, 8:02 a.m. Her dad. "Son," he said, like we were drinking whiskey on a porch together, "I need you to man up and take care of Ashley." I laughed. I couldn't help it. "Sir," I said, "real men don't pay for other guys' girlfriends." He growled, "Don't you dare talk to me like that. Then don't call my phone demanding I bankroll your daughter's betrayal." Click. That week, she posted on Facebook a long, emotional rant about how I was vindictive and emotionally abusive, how I used money to control her, how she was escaping a toxic relationship. The sympathy rolled in. Heart reacts. Supportive comments from her friends, until one of our mutuals commented, "Wait, didn't you cheat on him?" Then another, "You mean the guy who paid for your MBA?" And another, "Ashley, girl, maybe don't throw stones when you live in a house someone else paid for." By Wednesday, the post was deleted, but not before I screenshotted every word. But Ashley wasn't done. She started a GoFundMe. Title, "Help Me Finish My Education." It was dramatic. Tears. Pity. Blame. Cut off by my abusive ex. Dreams destroyed. Just need a chance to rebuild. It raised $430 in 3 weeks, mostly $10 donations from distant cousins and gullible strangers. Then the link started getting shared in local groups. People started telling the real story in the comments. She cheated for months. She used him for tuition. She's not a victim, she's a gold digger. By week 4, the campaign was taken down. Embarrassed, exposed. But I still wasn't done, because I hadn't even touched Liam yet. You see, Ashley bet on Liam because he sounded like success. But me, I had receipts, and I was about to turn that man's life inside out. You want to know the moment everything shifted? It wasn't when Ashley left. It wasn't even when she begged me on my porch with mascara running down her face. It was the night I realized this wasn't just about heartbreak. It was about humiliation. A betrayal so calculated, so smug. It was almost corporate, and I don't lose in business. See, I work in construction project management. That means I vet people all the time, subcontractors, vendors, investors. I check licenses, criminal records, debt history, court judgments, because when someone lies on paper, people can die on the ground. That night, I sat in front of my laptop with a glass of bourbon and typed one name into the private contractor database we use at work. Liam Walker. Full legal name, Deeb. Address thanks to the leasing agreement Ashley had accidentally left in my house. I wasn't looking for gossip. I was looking for patterns. And what I found, it was gold. Liam had been fired from his last legitimate job at a mid-size marketing agency in Boulder for falsifying client data and inflating timesheets. The HR report used words like malicious and deliberate misconduct. Next up, debt. The man had $31,000 in revolving credit card debt across 7 different banks. He was 90 days past due on 2 of them. Then came student loans in default $18,000 and climbing. But the cherry on top, an active warrant in Milwaukee for unpaid child support. Turns out Liam had a 3-year-old daughter with a woman named Jessica. He owed $12,800 in back payments and hadn't shown up to court in over a year. I sat back in my chair, stunned. But it got worse. The consulting firm Liam bragged about, it existed. Technically, registered LLC in Colorado. No tax filings, no reported income, no business license, no active website, no clients, no payroll. In other words, a name printed on paper to impress women and deflect real work. The startup he claimed to advise, it was a multi-level marketing scheme pushing powdered bio-enhanced supplements. A glorified pyramid scheme. The BMW registered to his mother. He'd taken his mom's car, slapped on a blazer, and seduced Ashley with fantasy. I was staring at a phantom. A shell of a man stitched together with borrowed charm and unpaid bills. But Ashley fell for it. Because he looked like ambition. He talked like possibility. And that's the danger of the modern American hustle. It's easy to fake success for just long enough to steal stability. So I compiled everything. HR termination reports, debt statements, court judgments, DMV registration, Facebook photos of his child and baby mama, screenshots of his defunct website. His eviction notice from 2020 said he owed $200 to a former landlord for trashing a property. I packaged it into a folder labeled Liam Walker, Truth File. Then I created a fresh Gmail account. No name, no trace. Subject line: thought you should know who you're really living with. I attached the documents, all of it, and I sent it to Ashley. Now, you might be wondering why. Why not just move on? Why go that far? Because I needed her to know. I needed her to see the man she threw everything away for. To see that behind the tailored lies and sexy car and buzzword soup was a man who couldn't hold up a single promise. The next morning, my phone rang at 6:11 a.m. Ashley, I let it go to voicemail. Then again, and again, until finally, I picked up. Her voice was shaking. Jake, I messed up so bad. I leaned back in bed. Good morning. Don't do that. Please? That email, that was you, right? I stayed silent. Jake, he has a child, a whole daughter. He never told me. He owes so much money. His business is fake. He drives his mom's car. I stayed quiet. She broke. I confronted him. He admitted it. All of it. And he asked me to help him. I raised an eyebrow. Help. He said we were a team now. That I should invest in our future by helping him pay child support. I couldn't help it. I actually laughed. That's bold. You don't understand. Jake, I'm homeless. I'm living in my car. I can't afford anything. I haven't showered in days. I have no money, no job, and nowhere to go. And, Jake, can I please stay on your couch just for a few days? I'll pay rent. I'll cook. I'll do whatever you want. Her voice cracked again. I'm sleeping in a parking lot behind a 7-Eleven. I could have said yes. I could have said nothing. But instead, I said, you want to come back, fine. But first, you're going to tell the truth. She hesitated. What truth? You're going to post on every social media account you have and admit what you did. What? You're going to tell people you cheated for 4 months, that you used me for tuition, that you lied about who was abusive, that Liam is a fraud with a secret kid and a trail of debt. That's, Jake, that's humiliating. Not as humiliating as begging to sleep on my couch because the man you left me for turned out to be a con artist. Silence. If I do that, you'll let me stay. I'll consider it. 2 hours later, she posted it. Everything. And when the internet saw the real Ashley, let's just say redemption was never part of the plan. The post went up around 8:30 p.m. A long block of text on Facebook. Then Instagram, identical wording. Same photo of Ashley looking down, hands folded in her lap like she was ready to confess to the Pope. It started with, I need to publicly apologize for my terrible behavior. And what followed was the digital equivalent of standing in Times Square with a megaphone yelling, I cheated, I lied, and I used the man who loved me. She admitted it all. That I paid her tuition, her rent, her insurance, her lashes, her dinners. That she cheated on me for 4 months. That she left me for a man who turned out to be a liar with a child he abandoned. That she accused me of abuse to cover her shame. That I had done nothing wrong. It was like watching a public trial where the defendant had chosen to prosecute herself. And the internet, it went wild. The first comments were slow. People unsure if this was real or some PR stunt. But then wave after wave. Finally, some honesty from you. Ashley. Jake deserves a damn parade. This is what happens when you chase hype over stability. Girl, you fumbled the bag hard. He paid for your MBA and you cheated what? Even her former co-worker chimed in. We all knew you were using him. Glad he finally wised up. I sat on my couch, phone in hand, scrolling through every comment, pizza box beside me, dog curled at my feet. And for the first time in over a year, I felt clean. No shouting, no revenge fantasy. Just truth raw, unfiltered and coming from her own mouth. At 7:59 p.m., my phone rang. Ashley, okay, she said. I did what you asked. I posted everything. People are being brutal. I'm humiliated. I waited. So, can I stay with you now? I paused. Ashley, I said, I appreciate that you finally told the truth. That took courage. So, yes. No. Silence. Then what? I said I'd consider helping you if you posted. I considered it, and the answer's no. You promised. No. I said I'd consider it, and I did. She broke right there on the phone. You can't do this, she cried. I did what you asked. I swallowed my pride. I admitted everything. Please, Jake, I'm in my car. I have nowhere to go. I'll sign something. I'll pay you back. I'll do chores, anything. I let the silence stretch. Then she whispered, I'll do whatever you want. Sexually, there it was. The last chip. Even now, after everything she thought, maybe she could bargain her way back into safety with the one currency she knew how to weaponize. And that made me feel sorry for her, but not enough to say yes. Ashley, I said, slowly, I wouldn't take you back if you were the last woman on earth. She gasped like I'd slapped her. You've shown me who you are. I believe you. You're a liar, a user, a cheat. You don't add anything to my life except drama and debt. Fine, she shouted. Then fuck is you, Jake. You'll regret this when I get back on my feet. You'll see. You'll see what you missed out on. I already did, I said, and I survived it. Click. She tried to contact me for a few days after. New numbers. Blocked. A burner Instagram. Blocked. Then silence. But the ripple kept moving. 2 days later, a guy DM'd me. Said he'd matched with Ashley on a dating app last year. Said she ghosted him after he refused to help her with a few things. She'd been doing this long before me testing. Probing, grooming for comfort. I wasn't the first. I probably wasn't the last. But I would be the last one who got played without consequences. Then came the fallout. Her GoFundMe made it onto Reddit. People reposted her confession alongside screenshots from the fundraiser. The comments were savage. Bro paid $42K to be cheated on. She paid $0 and still lost. MBA, manipulating broke Ashley. The only marketing strategy she learned was gold digging. They were cruel, but not untrue. She deleted every platform within 72 hours, and then it was like she vanished. I expected to feel triumphant, to stand tall over the digital wreckage of a woman who broke me. But what I felt was something different. I felt free, but I also felt tired. You spend so long proving you're not weak that you forget healing isn't about proving anything. That night, I went back to my vision board, where that one sticky note still hung. Don't save people who'll watch you drown. I pulled it down, not because it was wrong, but because it was finished. In its place, I pinned a new one. If you have to carry them, they're not your partner. They're your baggage. And just before bed, I sent one last message. Not to Ashley, not to Liam, to myself. A calendar invite. Therapy intake session. Thursday, 9 hours m. Because while I wasn't broken anymore, I knew I needed help rebuilding what she never saw value in. But just when I thought the storm had passed, Ashley showed up again. And this time, she wasn't begging. She was burning. I folded the "Don't save people who'll watch you drown" sticky note into my wallet and slid the therapy intake calendar invite into my phone's lock screen. Thursday at 9 a.m. I figured that would be the end of it, closure. Finally, afternoon. I'm in the waiting room of a small counseling practice in Capitol Hill. The walls are painted a soft blue. There's a rubber plant in the corner. My foot taps so loudly, I swear the plant can hear it. My mind drifts back to the past 2 weeks. The flood of texts, the media roast, the burnout of a public confession. It all feels like a fevered dream. My name on the clipboard, Jacob Morrison. I'm here because of relationship stress. The intake form says, I glance at the receptionist reading magazines from 2013. I clear my throat. Mr. Morrison. Inside the therapist's office. Harpwood and Associates. I settle into a leather chair. It's warm, almost too warm, like someone forgot to turn off a space heater. Across from me sits Dr. Elaine Harpwood, late 50s. Gray-streaked hair pulled back, kind eyes behind tortoiseshell frames. Jake, she says, handing me a box of tissues. Tell me what brings you here. I take a breath. My chest feels tight, but in a good way. Like I'm finally letting air in. I lost someone I trusted. I begin. And when I realized she'd used me financially, emotionally it broke me. Then I fought back. I won. But I still feel exhausted. Her pen hovers over a notepad. It sounds like you've been carrying a lot of weight, she says. What do you notice in your body right now? I close my eyes. My shoulders slump. My jaw unclenches. I feel a small relief, as if I can finally set something down that I've been gripping for too long. It's quieter in here. I say, no damn text messages. No creditors calling. She nods. Sometimes peace is blurred by silence. Healing starts with acknowledging the scars. I sniff once. I think I need that. Later that day, back at my house, I'm sorting mail. Among the envelopes from utility companies and car dealerships is something unexpected, a thick manila envelope with a law firm's logo, Lang & Baxter. Attorneys at law. I open it, and the letter inside reads, Re-Emis Ashley Rodriguez, Tuition Guarantee Agreement. We represent Miss Rodriguez. She maintains you entered into a legally binding agreement to fund her entire MBA at DePaul University. Your unilateral withdrawal constitutes breach of contract and has caused Ms. Rodriguez to suffer severe emotional distress. Please remit payment for summer and fall semesters immediately, or we will pursue all legal remedies, including a counterclaim for emotional distress and injunctive relief. I drop the letter onto the kitchen table. My heart thuds in my ears, first not with Dr. Harpwood, now a legal threat. I lean against the counter, exhale, and text my friend Mike. Got a laughable demand letter. You in. Within 10 minutes, Mike calls. He's a real attorney, not some bottom feeder. Send it to me, he says. I snap a photo and email it. A few hours later, he forwards me his draft. Lang and Baxter, re your frivolous claim my client, Mr. Morrison, was under no contractual obligation to fund Ms. Rodriguez's adult education. By your logic, every boyfriend who buys flowers is on the hook for eternity. Further contact will be deemed harassment, and we will countersue for fees. Mike's note, let them choke on it. That evening, I post Mike's letter as a screenshot in my private professional Slack group with no identifying details. Responses flood in. Dude, that's brutal. Love the line about flowers. Tell her dad to take a hike. I laugh. Feels good. Then I delete the screenshot. I don't want any of that going public. I lean back on my sofa. My old leather chair molds to me. I stroke my dog's ears. I realize something. I'm no longer curious about Ashley's next move. I'm curious about my next move. 2 days later, my phone chirps midday. It's an email from DePaul University's bursar's office. Confirmation of withdrawal. Mr. Morrison. This confirms that Ms. Rodriguez's registration for the summer and fall 2025 terms has been canceled pursuant to your request. Summer and fall gone. Hammocks and group projects and another holiday season of chasing deadlines all canceled. It sends a bittersweet pang through me. Part of me expected relief. Instead, I feel the finality of a door closing. That night, I drive past the Cherry Creek neighborhood where Ashley once lived. Sitting in traffic, I pass the boutique she worked at. Dark windows, mannequins in half-lit dresses. I flash back to watching her walk past those displays in heels. Like the world was her runway. I gulp the last sip of my water bottle and roll down the window. A cold breeze brushes my arm. I whisper to myself, "You're better off." The next morning, I'm in my home office when the doorbell rings. I wasn't expecting anyone. I look through the peephole. Ashley, not disheveled, not pleading. She's wearing a crimson coat, hair loose around her shoulders, eyes burning. I swallow hard. I haven't seen her in days, weeks, really. I open the door. She steps in without waiting. We need to talk. Her tone is flat, controlled, different from the tearful girl who begged 2 weeks ago. I step aside. You have 5 minutes. She looks at my vision board, blank now, except for one note. If you have to carry them, they're not your partner, they're your baggage. Her gaze flickers. I've been thinking, she says. Maybe I messed up, but you went too far. Her voice trembles slightly, but her posture is rigid. You published my private life, she says. You humiliated me. I feel my pulse quicken. My palms get a little sweaty. She's calm on the surface, but I can see the storm underneath her jaw tight. Fists clenched. I cross my arms. I asked you to tell the truth. You did. I delivered the consequences. She steps closer. The scent of her coat, like dark cherries, fills my nose. I lost everything, she says quietly. My school, my reputation, my future. I'm sorry for that, I say softly. But I'm not sorry I defended myself. Her eyes flash. I have something you don't. I raise an eyebrow. What's that? A plan, she says, leaning forward, voice low. You think this is over? It's just the beginning. I feel a chill. Her casual confidence rattles me. She turns on her heel and walks out without another word. The door clicks behind her. I stand in the hallway, heart pounding, adrenaline mixing with anticipation. Because for the first time in weeks, I'm on edge. Not out of fear, out of curiosity. What plan, she said. And so, She left like a closed case. But now she's back with something darker. I can feel it in the way she moved. I can taste it in the air. What's her next move? I closed the door behind her and leaned against it for a moment. Breathing slowly. The echo of her footsteps faded, but her final words, "This is just the beginning," hung in the hallway like a challenge. I pocketed my phone and stepped into the living room, where the glow of my tablet still lit up the blank corkboard. My new sticky notes stared back at me. "If you have to carry them, they're not your partner, they're your baggage." I ran my fingers over the edge, then peeled it off and tucked it in my wallet. No more reminders. Time to move forward. Later that afternoon, there was a knock. 4 sharp raps, too formal for Ashley. I opened the door to find 2 men in suits and a woman holding a legal pad. The taller man introduced himself as Mr. Lang. "Mr. Morrison. We represent Ms. Rodriguez." I held up a hand. "We already handled that." Mr. Baxter took a step forward. "You underestimated us. We've filed a small claim suit for emotional distress and improper termination of a financial guarantee." My jaw tightened. "You're suing because I stopped funding your fantasy." The woman, Ms. Carter, flipped through her notes. "This isn't about money. It's about principle. Ms. Rodriguez alleges you engaged in a pattern of controlling behavior." I felt my chest tighten, the familiar sting of frustration. But I blinked it away. "Let me get this straight," I said, pointing to the sticky note on my wallet. "You're suing me because I refused to save someone who was ready to watch me drown." Mr. Lang's lips thinned. "We'll see the judge." That night, I sat at my kitchen island with my laptop open to the county court's e-filing portal. My hand hovered over the mouse. A plan formed slowly, like a structure rising from blueprints. I called Mike, my attorney buddy, showed him the small claims filing. He snorted. "They're grasping. We'll countersue for harassment and file a motion to dismiss. And we'll request her to produce every piece of evidence she claims. But," he added, "if this gets into the public record, you'll look petty." I paused. Public record. People will read about it. He shrugged. "Courthouse records are online. Anyone can see." I closed the laptop. I didn't want a drawn-out legal battle. I wanted peace. Meanwhile, Ashley's next move came in a flurry of social media smears. Anonymous TikTok accounts popped up, accusing me of emotional abuse, gaslighting, and financial manipulation. Some even dredged up my childhood-old yearbook photos of me wearing braces, a high-pitched voice cameo on a local news segment about safety helmets. At first, I felt that old sting, the urge to defend, to argue, to shout. But instead, I took a deep breath and let it wash over me like rain on a rooftop. Because I knew the truth. A week later, I was sitting in Dr. Harpwood's office again. "I'm being attacked online," I said, tapping my fingers on the armrest. "It's relentless." She nodded. "Social media can be a battleground. How do you usually cope?" I thought back to my vision board ritual, tearing off dreams, and the decision to seek therapy. I remind myself that my self-worth isn't tied to someone's lies. She smiled. "That's progress. You're building resilience." I exhaled. I just want this to end. The final twist came on a rainy Thursday morning. I was packing for a work trip to Colorado Springs when my phone lit up with an unfamiliar number. "Jake." It was Ashley. Her voice was steady, almost clipped. I dropped the lawsuit. I froze. A flurry of thoughts, relief, suspicion, curiosity. Why, I asked. There was a pause. Then she said, I realized I was wrong. That I lied. That I destroyed more than just your trust. I let out a breath. Okay. More silence. Then, quietly, if you ever want closure face to face, I'll be at the Cherry Creek coffee shop on Saturday. Noon. I glanced at my Rolex, something I'd bought with my first big bonus. It felt heavy on my wrist. You don't have to come, she added. I just wanted you to know. I ended the call and pocketed my phone. Saturday at noon. I walked into the coffee shop. Rain pattered against the windows. The place smelled of espresso and rain-wet pavement. I spotted her at a corner table, hair pulled back, glasses on, no makeup, just raw honesty. She looked up and offered a small smile. I sat down. She folded her hands on the table. I'm sorry, she said. Not the public apology, I mean real, personal. I'm sorry for everything. I nodded. Thank you. She looked nervous, like a job candidate waiting for an offer. I don't expect us to, I don't know, be friends. I just wanted to close this chapter. I leaned back. The coffee in front of me steamed. I've closed it. I said, I moved on a while ago. She exhaled. Relief glimmered in her eyes. Maybe regret. Maybe acceptance. Good, she whispered. Walking back to my car, I felt something shift inside, lighter, resolute. I thought about that little vision board, now blank. I thought about the sticky note in my wallet. And I thought about all of us people who believe love is a one-way investment. It's not. It's a partnership. A ledger of give and take. So here's the takeaway. Don't invest in someone who's ready to walk away. Your kindness isn't a blank check. Healing comes when you reclaim your story. And if you're watching this, wondering whether to stay or fight, ask yourself, are you building someone's future or funding their escape? Thank you for joining me on this journey through betrayal, strategy, and redemption. If you've ever paid for someone's dream only to see them chase another, share your story below. Let's build a community so no one has to drown alone. Don't forget to hit like if you believe in boundaries. Subscribe for more real-life stories of overcoming betrayal, and ring the bell so you never miss a lesson in self-respect. I'm Jake Morrison, remember? If you have to carry them, they're not your partner, they're your baggage. Stay safe, stay true, and I'll see you in the next video.